Ghost Tales.
Hey girlies and ghoulies, and welcome to the Girly Ghost Tales podcast. We're your hosts for this evening. I'm Amber.
And I'm Leah, and this is a supernatural podcast about ghost stories, ghost hunting, conspiracies, witchcraft, haunted objects, places, even people, and everything in between with a little bit of girl talk mixed in.
What more could you ask for? Tonight, this episode didn't come from a recommendation or a request. It came from instinct. We went digging, followed the threads that caught our attention, and landed on a story we couldn't stop thinking about. Tonight's episode is one we chose ourselves, and once you hear it, you'll understand why.
So sit back, grab some popcorn, get comfy, and
To the grave we go.
Tonight, we're talking about a ghost that never lived, but might have learned how to haunt. In the early 1970s, a group of researchers in Toronto set out to answer one terrifying question: can belief alone create a ghost? They didn't try to contact a spirit from history, they didn't summon the dead, they didn't investigate a haunted location. Instead, they invented one. They gave him a name, Phillip, a detailed backstory, emotions, trauma, even unfinished business. And then they tried to talk to him. What happened next challenges everything we think we know about spirits, the human mind, and whether ghosts are discovered or created. Because Philip never existed, yet something answered. And tonight we're diving into the Philip the Ghost Experiment, one of the most unsettling paranormal studies ever conducted. In the early 1970s, long before ghost hunting shows, spirit boxes, or paranormal TikToks, a small group of ordinary people in Toronto, Canada, decided to test something radical. They weren't trying to prove ghosts were real, they were trying to prove they weren't. Their question was simple but deeply unsettling. Could the human mind create a ghost and then interact with it? The experiment was conducted by members of the Toronto Society for Physical Research, led by Dr. A.R.G. Owen, a mathematician and philosopher, and his wife Iris Owen, who had a strong interest in parapsychology. Alongside them were several volunteers, none of whom claimed to be psychic mediums. They were average people, accountants, housewives, professionals, skeptical, grounded, and logical. That part is important. This was not a seance run by believers desperate for contact. It was designed as a controlled psychological experiment. At the time, many paranormal researchers believed that phenomena like table tipping, knocks, and automatic writing weren't caused by spirits at all, but by unconscious muscle movements from participants. This was known as the ideomotor effect. So the Owens proposed a bold idea. If seance phenomena were purely psychological, then creating a fictional ghost should still produce results, because the group's subconscious would do all the work. If nothing happened, it would prove spirits weren't necessary. If something did happen, that's where things got uncomfortable. The group invented an entirely fictional person named Philip Aylesford. They didn't just give him a name, they gave him a life. Philip was said to be a 17th century English nobleman living during the time of Oliver Cromwell. Here was his full backstory. Philip was married to a cold, distant woman named Dorothea. Despite his status, Philip was deeply unhappy. He fell in love with a beautiful young gypsy woman named Margot, who represented freedom, passion, and everything his rigid life lacked. Philip believed Margot was a witch. When accused by others, he did nothing to stop her execution because publicly defending her would destroy him. Racked with guilt, Philip later accused his own wife, Dorothea, of witchcraft. Dorothea was imprisoned. Like, imagine being the wife.
Yeah,
like, oh, so you just having an affair and then you're just gonna get me killed
Yeah.
for no reason?
Have you heard that one TikTok sound? I think it's like 50 Cent, and it's like, what do you say fuck me for? That's probably her.
Literally. And like, did she know that? She must have known, like, that he was the one who accused her.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Like, if you're not happy, just leave.
Mhm.
You don't have to
Yeah.
sentence me to death.
Yeah. Like, if you want to get haunted, I mean, it is a fictional character
Oh,
that
yeah.
they're making up.
I already forgot. The story was so real.
This, I know, it's like so detailed.
Yeah.
Like, very detailed. Overcome with remorse and shame, Philip eventually took his own life, throwing himself from the battlements of his castle. Every detail was carefully crafted and agreed upon by the group. They even created sketches of Philip, imagined his personality, and discussed his emotional state. He was fictional, completely. At first, the group held seances casually, sitting around a table, holding hands, lights on, no theatrics. Nothing happened. Weeks passed, then months. They asked questions, they waited, they recorded notes, still nothing. The experiment appeared to be failing, but instead of giving up, the group decided to change their approach. This was the turning point. They stopped treating it like a laboratory experiment and started treating it like a seance. They dimmed the lights, they lit candles, they played soft music, they relaxed, they joked, they talked to Philip like he was real. And that's when things began to change. One night, while asking questions aloud, the table beneath their hands twitched. At first, they brushed it off. Then it happened again. A single knock, then another. They established a communication system, one knock for yes, two knocks for no. They asked Philip questions only he could answer, questions based on the fictional biography they had created. Their responses were consistent. Philip knew his story. He reacted emotionally to questions about Margot. He refused to answer questions about Dorothea. When asked if he regretted his actions, the table knocked violently. That was the first time fear crept in. I would be like, all right, this was fun, guys.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go now.
this is not for me anymore.
Yeah, like shaking violently
Yeah. Ooh.
to something you made up.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of want to try to do this.
Yeah.
Like,
See if we can get in contact with Harold.
yeah, like we could make like a whole backstory for Harold and like see if the questions we ask, if he responds to them based on like what we create. Should we do that?
We should, yeah.
And we can just, I don't know, I was gonna say make sure that it's like positive.
Yeah, we'll just like we'll say he was like a great guy.
Yeah.
So protective and loving.
Protected people.
Just a ray of sunshine.
Yeah. Never did anything malicious.
Had no intention of that ever.
Yeah. I want to do that though, just to see
if we get more activity from him.
Yeah. The activity didn't stop, it intensified. The table began to rock and tilt, sometimes lifting one leg off the ground. Lights flickered, cold drafts appeared in sealed rooms. The group was adamant, no one was consciously moving the table. Observers were brought in, cameras were set up, independent witnesses watched the table move without visible cause. Philip began responding faster, smarter, almost impatient. If the group laughed or broke focus, the activity stopped. If they focused emotionally, Philip responded. Philip showed clear preferences. He liked certain people more than others. He became hostile when questioned skeptically. He refused to answer trick questions. And most disturbingly, he sometimes answered questions before they were finished being asked.
Ooh.
I feel like it's just like they're just conjuring up something like that they can't handle.
It's like AI.
Yeah.
But in ghost form.
Yeah, literally. That's like what they did. They're like the original AI creators, but of a spirit or entity.
Oh.
This was no longer slow, unconscious movement. This felt reactive, intentional. As the sessions continued, something else began to happen, something the group hadn't planned for, documented carefully, or even known how to explain. It wasn't the table, it wasn't the knocks, it was them. Members of the group began reporting moments of intense mental overlap. Small at first, easy to dismiss. Someone would start to ask a question, and another member would say it out loud at the same time, word for word.
Ooh.
I feel like that would like scare me more
Yeah.
than the stuff happening.
I don't like that.
They laughed it off, coincidence, but then it kept happening. One participant would suddenly feel the urge to change the subject, only for someone else to say, I was just thinking we shouldn't ask him that. Another would feel a wave of sadness wash over them, seemingly out of nowhere, only to discover the person across the table was feeling the exact same emotion at the exact same moment. They began finishing each other's sentences, not in a casual, friendly way, in a synchronized way, as if the thought had formed once and landed in multiple minds simultaneously. During some sessions, questions wouldn't even need to be asked aloud. A participant would think a yes or no question internally without moving, without speaking. The table would respond anyway, correctly. That would scare me because I'd be like, he's inside of us.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
that's
in our
what's
heads,
happening.
like,
Yeah.
ooh.
This deeply unsettled the group because the experiment was never designed to test telepathy. Yet now it seemed impossible to separate Philip's responses from the mental state of the people contacting him. The Owens began to suspect that Philip wasn't just responding to belief, he was responding to emotion. When the group felt unified, calm, and focused, the activity intensified. When someone entered the room anxious, distracted, or skeptical, their responses weakened or stopped altogether. It was as if Philip required emotional coherence to exist. And worse, the group members were becoming emotionally coherent with each other even more than before. They described feeling mentally porous, like their thoughts weren't private during sessions, which would also freak me out.
Yeah, I would not like that.
Mm-mm. Several participants reported dreams about Philip, identical dreams, shared imagery, shared dialogue. They hadn't discussed these dreams beforehand. They simply compared notes afterward and realized they were dreaming the same scenes. At this point, the researchers were forced to confront an unsettling possibility. What if Philip wasn't communicating through the group, but through their shared consciousness? If the entity was a product of collective imagination, then the imagination itself might be acting as a conduit. A single mind might not be enough, but multiple minds, emotionally synchronized, might create something stronger, something interactive, something autonomous. The longer the experiment continued, the harder it became for participants to tell where their own thoughts ended and Philip's responses began. Some members reported instinctively knowing when Philip would refuse to answer a question before the table even reacted. Others felt sudden emotional reactions to questions they hadn't consciously registered hearing. It was no longer just a seance, it was a group mental state. And that scared them more than the table ever had. Even after the session stopped, some participants reported lingering effects: heightened intuition, stronger emotional sensitivity, a feeling of mental closeness to others who had been part of the experiment even years later. The telepathic phenomena eventually faded, but it raised a final, deeply disturbing question. If a group of ordinary people could unintentionally synchronize their minds, what else could be created in that space? Eventually, the group demonstrated Philip publicly. In front of journalists, researchers, skeptics, the table moved on command. Knox answered questions correctly. At one point, the table lifted completely off the floor, witnessed by multiple people.
Oh my gosh.
That just seems like
powerful.
And like maybe I don't know, it just seems like negative to me. Like if you can just do that.
Yeah, I feel like you have to have a lot of emotion. Or, I don't know.
A lot of like energy.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, it just makes you think like our minds are so powerful and we just don't even know.
And that's what I was gonna say. It's like we only use how much percent of our brain. Like who knows what you could be really doing with your brain that you're not
that they don't
fully
want
conscious
us to know.
of. Yeah.
Yeah. And like like it said, all of their minds combined too made
Yeah.
it like even stronger.
That's so scary.
I know, but it's so interesting.
Yeah.
And like I want to like test it
Yeah.
and see what would happen. This was recorded. Philip had never lived, yet he behaved like something that had. After several years, the group ended the experiment. They did not perform a banishment. They did not formally dismiss Philip. They simply stopped meeting. And just like that, Philip disappeared. No more knocks, no more movement, no lingering activity. So, what was Philip? There are 3 theories: pure psychology, that the group unconsciously created all phenomena through collective belief; a thought form / tulpa, which is what I feel like.
Yeah.
An entity created by focused intention, an idea that exists across cultures; or something else answered, that something opportunistic used Philip as a mask. But
That
how
could
would
be a
it know
possibility. Yeah.
all of the, like it said, it answered all the questions correctly and like responded emotionally about like the Margot and Dorothea. So I feel
Yeah.
like if it was like a different entity, it would be less likely for it to do that.
Yeah.
The most unsettling part, when the group tried to create another fictional ghost, they succeeded. Philip wasn't unique. The Phillip Experiment suggests something deeply uncomfortable: that belief itself may be a doorway, that spirits might not always come from history, but from us. And once something answers, you may not get to decide what it really is.
It's so spooky.
It's crazy.
It's exciting, honestly.
I know. And there is like a video on YouTube. You can watch them like talking to Philip and like watch them in their seance video.
When was this again? Like what year?
In the early 70s.
Okay.
So this was the one I watched.
Come on, let's get going. Have you brought Dorothea with you? Have you seen Dorothea lately? No. Would you like to see Dorothea lately? No. Didn't you love Dorothea in your time?
Wait, what are they looking at that's saying yes or no?
Nothing. The table is like
Oh,
moving
okay.
Did you like Dorothea?
and like knocking. So it does
Okay.
1 for no, 2 for yes.
Margot. Oh, yeah. Say it again. Did you love Margot? Good.
Like it's literally shaking.
That's crazy.
Look at. Do you see it tilt?
Yeah.
And there's
That
no,
lady's like, whoa.
there's no way for them to like fake that.
Yeah.
Like with what kind of table that is.
Hello, Philip. Are you there?
Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, Philip. Hi, Philip.
Good morning, Philip. And like they look like they're barely touching it too.
Like
Well,
they're
and the
just-
fact that it's like staying like that.
Kenneth Batcheldor had evolved a theory that
It's
That's
like
crazy.
yeah. And it's funny because it's like all the people who are doing it, like it's not people like us that are like
Yeah.
ghost hunting
It's
and
not like Zach Bagans,
teenagers.
you
They're like
imagine.
old.
I know,
Like,
yeah.
They're like over 50, it looks
That one
like.
lady.
This is like a group picture of them sitting there. And then this is like in the video too. If you watch the full video, it like slides across.
Yeah,
the
and they
floor
look like
that.
they're barely touching it.
Yeah, they're literally like resting their hands like that.
Oh my gosh.
Which is just crazy. And then this is one more picture too.
Yeah,
Like
what
how
the
would
heck?
it be like staying like that?
Yeah.
And like if they did do it, you would be able to see them like using like pressure. Like they
Yeah.
wouldn't just be sitting like this and then it tilts like that.
They're just so proper too for even the 70s, I feel like.
I know. So
That is so cool.
Phillip the Ghost Experiment.
Phillip.
So yeah, we do have one of our dolls, one of our first dolls, Harold. I'm pretty sure he is a tulpa that we unknowingly created.
Yeah.
So we're gonna test the experiment on Harold and give him a story and see what kind of responses we get from him. I'm excited to do that.
Me too. I love Harold.
Me too.
I did the Hotel del Coronado in San Diego, California. During the height of the Gilded Age, the vision for what would become the Hotel del Coronado was born. The idea came from two prominent American businessmen, Hampton L. Story and I think it's Elisha Babcock Jr. It's spelled Elisaj.
I think so. I think that's what that name is.
Who were captivated by the natural beauty of Glorietta Bay. Inspired by the sweeping views and coastal charm, the pair set out to create a grand resort hotel that would become the talk of the Western world. To bring that vision to life, they purchased nearly 4,000 acres of land across the Coronado Peninsula and neighboring North Island, planning an entire resort community to support their ambitious hotel. Construction on the Hotel del Coronado began in 1886 with plans developed by Story, Babcock, and architect James Reed of Reed Brothers Architectural Firm. Ground was broken the following January, and at the peak of construction, nearly 2,000 laborers worked full-time on the massive project. The hotel cost a staggering $1 million to complete, $600,000 for construction alone, and an additional $400,000 for furnishing, an extraordinary sum for the time, and it's estimated to be $35.5 million today.
Oh
Crazy.
my god. For a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Yeah. When the Hotel del Coronado officially opened in 1888, Story and Babcock celebrated with a lavish grand opening attended by approximately 1,440 guests from across San Diego. Visitors were immediately awestruck by the hotel's scale and elegance. It boasted cutting-edge innovations rarely seen in the era, including indoor plumbing, oil-heated furnaces, and electric lighting. Every guest room was outfitted with luxurious amenities and provided access to impressive recreational facilities such as a billiards hall and a bowling alley. A bowling alley in a hotel. Especially for that time, seems so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Dozens of private parlors offered quiet retreats with sweeping views of Glorietta Bay, while the surrounding grounds features exotic gardens filled with tropical fruit trees, palms, and meticulously landscaped shrubbery. Guests could even purchase a meal package that included 3 meals a day for just $2.50, which today
For
would
3 meals a day?
Yeah. But when you think about it, today it would be about $86.20. Which I feel like still though, 3 meals a day for $86 isn't that crazy.
At like a really nice hotel.
Yeah.
But that's just crazy. Like
$2.50. Yeah. Ugh. I couldn't get anything with $2.50 these days.
No.
You can barely get a drink for $2.50.
I don't even know if you can.
Yeah. Despite its early success, financial troubles soon followed. The collapse of the local real estate market in the 1890s led Story and Babcock struggling to keep the hotel operational. Ultimately, they were forced to sell the property to businessman John D. Spreckles, who had previously extended loans to keep the hotel afloat. John proved to be exactly what the Hotel del Coronado needed. Under his ownership, the hotel soared to new levels of national popularity. One of his most creative additions was Tent City, a unique campground made of luxurious tents designed for guests who couldn't afford standard room rates. These accommodations were far more refined than typical hotel rooms of the time, offering clean linens, elegant decor, and even electricity. John also forged an early connection between the hotel and film industry, inviting pioneering cinematographers to use the property as a filming location. Several early feature-length films were shot there, including Maiden and Men, Pearl of Paradise, and The Married Virgin. This was the 1890s.
Yeah.
I have no idea any
The
of those
Married
movies.
Virgin.
Yeah. Over the years, the Hotel del Coronado attracted an impressive roster of notable guests. Frequent visitors included author L. Frank Baum, inventor Thomas Edison, and baseball legend Babe Ruth. Several U.S. presidents also stayed at the hotel, among them William McKinley, William Howard Taft, and Woodrow Wilson. Even after the Spreckles family sold the hotel in the late 1940s, its prestige continued to grow, especially among Hollywood's elite. Film stars such as Bette Davis, Kirk Douglas, Humphrey Bogart, Katharine Hepburn, Clark Gable, Joan Crawford, Judy Garland, Olivia de Havilland? I cannot read. And James Stewart all passed through its storied halls. The hotel remained a popular filming location, appearing in productions like The Flying Feet, Dive Bomber, The Stuntman, and others. Again, no idea. Perhaps its most famous cinematic role came in 1950 with Some Like It Hot. The Hotel del Coronado served as the primary setting for the film, which followed two musicians on the run after witnessing the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Today, the movie is widely regarded as one of the greatest films ever made and is preserved in the Library of Congress's National Film Registry. Today, the Hotel del Coronado stands as one of the finest resort hotels in the United States. Celebrated for its architectural beauty and rich history, it has earned numerous honors, including designation as a National Historic Landmark by the U.S. Department of Interior. Few destinations offer such a seamless blend of luxury, history, and timeless grandeur as the legendary Hotel del Coronado. The Hotel del Coronado, like many grand old hotels, have spooky stories. One famous tale is about a young woman named Kate Morgan. In 1892, Kate Morgan arrived at the Hotel del Coronado to meet her estranged husband. He never came. Days later, Kate's body was discovered at the base of the hotel steps leading down to the ocean. Since her tragic death, guests and staff have reported unexplained sounds, sudden cold breezes, unfamiliar faces, and sightings of a young woman dressed in a black lace gown. Some believe Kate is still waiting, lingering in room 3327 for a reunion that never came. One guest claimed her initials mysteriously appeared, traced into the steam of the bathroom mirror. During the filming of Dead Famous, a long-running English television series, even a skeptical staff member was overwhelmed by an intense sensation of reliving Kate's final moments. The experience left them physically ill, too shaken to stand or even remain in the room. Christine Donovan, director of heritage programs and author of Beautiful Strange, The Ghost of Kate Morgan, and The Hotel del Coronado, sums it up simply. If you have to spend eternity somewhere, what better place than the Hotel del Coronado? Donovan has spent years researching ghostly phenomena, yet she notes that not all of the hotel's reported activity can be tied to Kate, nor are the experiences always dramatic. It's the decidedly non-dramatic aspects of most of the stories that have made a believer out of me, she explains. She recalls one account from a physician who stayed at the hotel. Each night he carefully placed his shoes and socks beside the bed. Every morning he awoke to find them scattered throughout the room. That's not the kind of story someone would bother making up, Donovan says. It aligns perfectly with other reports of objects being moved or thrown without explanation. Despite her deep involvement with the hotel's history and hauntings, Donovan admits she has never personally encountered Kate, or any paranormal activity at the Dell, and she's perfectly fine with that. I always say there are two kinds of people in this world. Those who want to see a ghost, and those who don't. I'm definitely in the second group.
Me too.
And you don't want to see one?
Oh no, the first group.
I was gonna say I'm definitely in the first. A longtime housekeeper named Irma de Anda, who worked at the hotel for more than a decade, told reporters that room 502 was one of the most feared assignments among the housekeeping staff. Many refused to clean it alone, claiming they heard unexplained noises and felt an unmistakable sensation of being watched while inside the room. Irma herself described a chilling encounter. After thoroughly cleaning room 502, she stepped into the bathroom to replace the soap. When she returned moments later, she found a small pile of dirt sitting on top of the dresser, despite having just finished dusting the room. A newspaper article also claimed that a housekeeper died of a heart attack in room 502 during the 1960s, though this account has never been independently verified. Even so, housekeeping have consistently reported strange disturbances after completing a full cleaning. Lampshades are said to shift, hangers move, and items appear out of place with no explanation. In 1992, the Hotel del Coronado quietly brought in parapsychologist and anomalist Christopher Chacon to conduct a confidential investigation into the growing number of unexplained incidences reported throughout the hotel. What followed was not a weekend ghost hunt, but a year-long, around-the-clock scientific assignment. For 12 consecutive months, Christopher and his team monitored the property 24 hours a day, using advanced on-site technology placed throughout the guest rooms, hallways, and outdoor grounds, alongside remote monitoring operated from a mobile laboratory. They scanned nearly every environmental variable imaginable. Temperature fluctuations, electronic emissions, air currents, and compositions. I can't read big words today. Electromagnetic and geomagnetic fields, radiation, vibration, movement, air pressure, humidity, and even the full spectrum of light were all continuously recorded and analyzed. The investigation extended beyond instruments. More than 1,100 people, including hotel guests, employees, contractors, and day visitors, were confidently interviewed. Roughly half had already reported unexplained experiences, while the other half were randomly selected as controls. Every participant underwent detailed interviews, assessments, and scientific evaluations. After nearly 10,000 hours of nonstop monitoring, Christopher documented a significant number of events that could not be explained by conventional scientific means. Repeated phenomena included chairs and furniture moving on their own, shadowy figures with no discernible source, doors and windows opening and closing, faucets turning on and off, sudden pockets of intense cold, and disembodied voices and footsteps echoing through empty spaces. Even more unsettling were the hundreds of personal encounters reported, moments where guests or staff spoke to someone who vanished, heard voices no equipment could record, or smelled scents with no physical source. Many of these experiences clustered in specific locations, most notably the hotel's famously haunted rooms on the 3rd and 5th floors, now among the most requested rooms in the entire resort. Christopher would return to the Hotel del Coronado multiple times over the years, applying different investigation modes and methods. Yet, despite evolving techniques and exhaustive analysis, some of the activity remained resistant to explanation, leaving behind data, testimony, and one troubling conclusion. Whatever is happening at the Del, it doesn't appear to be finished. The Hotel del Coronado is still polished, still elegant, still alive with laughter and footsteps. Rooms are cleaned, beds are turned down, guests come and go without ever noticing what might be standing just out of sight. But some say that late at night, when the halls grow quiet and the ocean air slips through the windows, room 502 doesn't feel empty at all. Because while guests check out every morning, not everyone who checks in ever leaves. And then I did find one story on Reddit that I was going to read. It's just a little short one. It's by Life in Technicolor. First time posting for a while on here, but I, 32 female, wanted to share my experience that could not be explained when I stayed at the Del Coronado Hotel on Coronado Island in San Diego. Since I was a kid, I've always been fascinated with ghosts and the unknown. I was about 12 years old at the time, about 20 years ago, and my parents decided to take my sister and I to the Del Hotel. As soon as I got there, I was fascinated by the hotel and the feeling I got there. It was a feeling of dread/fear, but also of excitement. They had cool old elevators with an attendant operating them, and there was a downstairs area where you could shop, but I got a really weird vibe down there. Overall, just a spooky feeling. I remember asking my parents if anyone had seen ghosts here or if the hotel had a history. My parents weren't sure, so we went to the front desk so I could ask. They handed me a pamphlet about the ghost that is said to haunt the grounds. Her name was Kate Morgan, and she had come to the hotel at the turn of the 20th century and had been waiting for her husband or lover at the hotel for a few days. After 5 days, she killed herself with what is believed to be a self inflicted wound from a handgun. If I can recall correctly, she did it on the stairs of the hotel leading down to the beach. I was totally fascinated by this ghostly stranger and read the pamphlet over and over. I was hanging out with my family in our room when my dad decides that we need some ice from down the hall. He left the door open, and my sister, mom, and I were just laying in the two beds reading our respective literature. All of a sudden, I felt really cold. Then, without warning, the door slams shut. And I mean slams. It was really loud and abrupt and scared the shit out of all of us. My dad came back, wondering why the door was closed, and walked in on all of us, turned pale from what had just happened. He joked, "Did you all see a ghost or something?" My stomach just dropped. As a logical child, I tried to figure out the most rational explanation for what had just occurred. I tried to move the door myself with a small push, but it just slowly swung back open. I looked for an open window, but everything was sealed shut as it was winter time. I laid wide awake while everyone was sleeping, trying to figure out what had happened. I was going through scenarios all night and just couldn't figure out how the door had slammed so violently. I never understood why or how the door moved like that, but I just made peace with it. If it was Kate, I'd like to think she was just saying hello in her own way. I guess I'll never know for sure, but that whole experience was eerily exciting. I look forward to going back one day.
I want to go there.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
I know, I just was like looking up
Oh.
pictures and I like was looking up pictures of like Kate too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I was gonna show you. This is like them going to the beach for the first time to decide if they want to buy that land.
It's
Then-
so crazy. Like, I just feel like when you see pictures like that, it's like they don't even look real.
I know,
how
I'm
they're
like-
dressed
I'm
and,
like, why are you on the beach in a top hat
and
and
a top
suit?
hat and cane, full suit?
Like what?
It's so crazy, and it's so huge.
It's so big. This is like the
like,
tent community thing.
No wonder it cost them so much to
Yeah.
build it.
Okay, so this says dining room on the picture, but it looks exactly the same as
Yeah,
this, and this is
I
what they
saw that
call the
one.
crown room because of the chandeliers look like
Maybe they
crowns.
changed it.
Maybe. And then the lobby.
I like how
The
it's
lobby
all
now.
like wood inside.
Yeah. And then that's Marilyn
I
Monroe.
saw that one too.
This is
It's
like an aerial
huge.
view.
Like, it doesn't even look like a hotel either.
No. I don't
Who is
know.
that?
This is the second guy who bought it from the original.
Oh, the one
people.
who was giving them the loans.
Yeah, and then that's Kate.
Mm-hmm.
But I read I think that's her real name, but she had checked in under an alias, and I can't remember what the name was.
Oh, really? I can't believe they did all that long ago and
Yeah.
spent that much money on it, and how big. Like, I was not picturing it to be that
It's
big and
huge.
fancy, and that's crazy. Thanks, girlies and ghoulies, for joining us. Come back next week for stories about black-eyed kids.
Make sure to follow our socials linked in the show notes, and email us your ghost stories and anything paranormal at girlyghosttales@gmail.com.
If you want episodes 1 week early, live ghost hunts, tarot Tuesdays, giveaways, and exclusive bonus content, join us on Patreon for $5 a month. New episodes release every Friday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Until next time, and remember, if you hear a whisper in the dark, it's probably just us.
But just in case, keep your lights on and your doors locked, and remember, the veil is always thinner than you think.
Good night.
Girly Ghost Tales.